And again the 2-2. Popped him up. Foul ground. Avila is under it. And they done it. The Tigers have done it. For the fourth consecutive year, they are champions of the American League Central Division.
Like a butterfly, I spend my wings gonna fly, like a do or die. Don't get another try. I fucking throw it all away like a sacrifice. Like a butterfly, I spread my wings and gonna fly, like a do or die. Don't get another try. I fucking throw it all away like a sacrifice, like a sacrifice. But I'm better now than I ever felt. Yeah, I'm better now. That's what I tell myself. But I'm better now than I ever felt. And I'd be lying if I said I need you now. Like a butterfly, I spread my wings and gonna fly, like a do or die. Don't get another try. I fucking throw it all away like a sacrifice. With the good vibes, cause nothing ever really hit me like the first time. I'm still watching as the time flies. I'm reminiscing, missing when you were driving. And it's crazy to know that you love me still, and it feels so real somehow. Do you love me still? Do you love me still somehow? Like a butterfly, I spread my wings and gonna fly, like a do or die. Like don't get another try. I fucking throw it all away like a sacrifice. Like a butterfly, I spread my wings and gonna fly, like a do or die. Don't get another try. I fucking throw it all away like a sacrifice, like a sacrifice. And it's crazy to know that you love me still, and it feels so real somehow. Do you love me still? Do you love me still somehow?
Welcome to the Detroit Tigers trophy case rebuild. I'm BigIrrelevant, and you might already be asking yourself, what are we doing at this screen? What's the trophy case rebuild? Well, we're going to go look quickly at the 2014 Tigers as an example and kind of what we are basing our team around in the goals of this rebuild. 2014 Tigers is one of the most unique rosters of talent that I've ever seen put together. At the time, they had two different MVPs on the roster, in two-time MVP Miguel Cabrera, as well as one-time MVP Justin Verlander. They had multiple Gold Glove winners, including Ian Kinsler and Torrey Hunter. They had 6 Silver Sluggers, including Nick Castellanos, JD Martinez, Victor Martinez, Alex Avila, Miguel Cabrera, and Torrey Hunter. They had 5 Cy Young winners in Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, David Price, Robbie Ray, and Rick Porcello. They had a Rookie of the Year in Justin Verlander. They had a Reliever of the Year in Joe Nathan. And then they also had a Hank Aaron Award winner in Miguel Cabrera and a Batting Title Award winner in Miguel Cabrera. So what is our goal going to be? To do that.
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
So this is going to be probably the hardest rebuild I will do because a lot of it is up to the sim gods of MLBTheShow to tell us who we are working with, what we're going to get for rewards, how we're going to build this. So let's first set up our expectations, because we're not going to go to the full extent of what the 2014 Tigers did, because it's not necessarily possible if you consider how much further we were going to go in this rebuild. So our goals: we want to have multiple MVP winners on the roster at the same time. We want to have multiple Gold Glove winners on the roster at the same time. We want to have, at minimum, 4 Silver Sluggers on the roster at the same time. I want to have at minimum 2 Cy Young winners on the roster at the same time. I need to have 1 player who won Rookie of the Year. We need to have a reliever of the year. And then we also need to have a player who wins the Hank Aaron and the batting title. On top of that, we must also win our division and win a World Series with all of those players on the roster. Meaning, we will consider this a failure if we do not have all of those accomplishments at the same time. Say we get all of the awards, but don't win the World Series. Well, that is a failure. Say we win the World Series, but we don't have a Rookie of the Year on the roster. Well, that is a failure. So one thing that we might have to consider is going beyond the World Series to see if we can acquire an award if we win the World Series for one of the players that are on this team. Or how many seasons will we have to go to win the World Series with a player who maybe wins it early and then we have to hold on to for longer. Now, we can have players who are a little older who won these awards. Torrey Hunter is an example of this, and Joe Nathan is an example of this, of players who were on the team who won these awards, but do not necessarily contribute specifically to winning them during their time with the Detroit Tigers. So, this team is going to be a challenge to build. And one of the reasons why we are doing this with the Tigers is because the Tigers already have a very interesting roster and pitching rotation. You could say that they right now have the talent in their system with Skubal, Olsen, Manning, Mize, Flaherty, and then a AAA, Jackson Joby and Wilmer Flores as examples of guys who definitely could win Cy Young awards. In addition, Rookie of the Years, if we're talking about some of the younger pitchers in that staff. Do we have a reliever of the year? Not necessarily, but could we get one? Yes, relievers of the year are not necessarily hard to get. And the roster, we have a few interesting guys. Yes, we do not have a Rookie of the Year just yet, but we have some interesting candidates for that. Colt Keith is one who could win it at second base. You have Riley Green, who has already passed and has not won this, but that also leaves Max Clark in the outfield as a potential future Rookie of the Year. We are still dealing with a few pieces that are definitely gaps. We are going to have to build a pretty big team, and we're still under the budget constraints that the Detroit Tigers have. So it is going to be essential for us to optimize the talent that we have with the guys that are currently within the system. We are also going to need to draft very, very well, preferably seeing if we can get some sort of generational talent to get ourselves that Rookie of the Year on this roster. Pretty much, we need to have a top-end defense, a top-end offense, and a top-end pitching in order to be able to win this. And that's the team that you would need to build to win a World Series anyways. The question is, can we rack up the hardware on top of that World Series trophy? That is what we will be attempting to do. Now, we also have to deal with the budgetary constraints that are faced by the Javier Baez contract, which is very bad. You'll also notice he is a 66 overall in this roster. This is a different roster completely. I tried something new because I wanted this to be a bigger challenge, and I wanted to try a roster that had updated potential, updated ratings that I have never seen before, so that I will not be going in with any advantage knowing, oh, you just need to sign this guy, or you just need to trade for this guy, or you just need to trade for this guy, and that'll work. No, we want to come with a variety, something new. So we are going to get ourselves straight away moving towards the draft and building this team, which hopefully we can get ourselves some awards early with the players that we have on this roster. Yeah, talking about Colt Keith right here, give me that Rookie of the Year, Colt Keith. But so that we can have our chance to start racking up the hardware early, so that we have those players locked up for the future. I will see you at the draft. Starting the 2024 draft, we have pick number 11, meaning that we are not going to really be in a position to get a top-end guy like this Dominic Bean at center field, who I think is the best potential prospect in this draft, but that does not necessarily mean that we can't still get a top guy. There's a lot of really interesting prospects, but we first got to see who's even going to be available to us. So first off, let's go through the draft, see what Cleveland takes. Probably Dominic Bean will go. Ooh, Tony Spence. That was an interesting second baseman. There is a second baseman that I found in the discovery process that could be available. Definitely not one of the guys that I had on my board. Lance Stevenson. Not the blow in your ear type Lance Stevenson. Or, that's Larry. I'm sorry. I can't read sometimes. All right. Dominic Bean didn't get taken. He did opt out, though. But he's the number one prospect. You look at him, high contact, high speed, very interesting. He's already 20. He's pretty close. We're taking Dominic Bean. And now if we look at our top prospects, we still have a lot of really interesting guys. We have the second baseman right here in Jeff Ryan, who I like. Doesn't have a whole lot. He just has like a decent contact and some good fielding. And then we have some pitcher prospects too that are kind of nice, especially this one with his hits and walks per 9, but his potential not as high as the other guys. I think what we're going to have to do, simply because of the high-end potential, is we're going to take Scott and Ryan. I think I'm gonna value Scott higher because I think it's more likely he gets taken before 71. But Ryan goes too. All right. Well, and then we get Kyle Cox anyways. So I'm probably gonna sim the rest of these as I start doing some scouting. I will look around a little bit, but I'll show you the results once we end up finishing our draft. We are currently in first place in the AL Central, and we have one of the worst offenses I think I've ever seen. And yes, I am trading for Miguel Sano, which is not much, but I only had to give up Jose Briceño for this deal, so we're just going to do that and get at least some offense from Miguel Sano. And that's because the big move we are going to make is we're going to trade for Tanner Scott. He's in the last year of his deal, and we do not have a decent closer at all right now. So Tanner Scott, we're going to trade one of our top prospects in Luke Gold and then another pitching prospect in Brennan Hanafy in order to get Tanner Scott to be our closer for this playoff run. So taking a look at our draft picks, Dominic Bean was one of the top end picks in this draft. We took him with the 11th pick. He only had B potential, sadly, 86, but he ended up still being one of the top guys that you could get. Decent contact stats, well, actually very, very good contact stats. He's going to be an on-base machine, which is exactly what you want to see when you are drafting a guy that high. He's going to be productive and could end up being one of those silver sluggers and has potential to win a rookie of the year for us whenever we get there. Mark Scott is a very good pitching prospect. He's more stamina, so he does need to take a little bit with the hits per 9 and walks per 9. But this is one of the guys that could end up being in this pitching rotation long term as one of the future aces in the rotation. No, for the rest of the picks, I took Kyle Cox, who is already a 74 and could come up literally like next year, but that hits per 9 is pretty bad. Francis Goodman, who could come up pretty quickly. Robert, he's like, he was just a random swing in the dark and interesting catcher prospect. That will probably be a guy that I will end up putting on the lineup. And then Edgar Flores and Johnny Karlik. Flores not really anything, and Karlik is decent, but nowhere near actually being ready. I do want to go check quick and just look around and see if any of the other prospects were really interesting in this draft. Neville Wilkerson, 91 potential at the top, right there. DeAndre Bird, I think I scouted him a little bit. That was the second overall pick. Larry Stevenson, not a good player. This seems like it was a pretty weak class overall. I mean, there's some guys all around here like that Stephen Dalton, but the top round did not necessarily go very well. Tommy Kim was one of the catchers I was looking at. Andres Hernandez. There's Jeff Ryan. So Jeff Ryan was a good prospect. He was better than... actually, no, he wasn't better than the pitcher that we drafted. So you know what? I think we did well with the guys that we got. We got probably one of the best players in the draft with Mark Scott, and we also got who is going to be probably the best draft pick in this one with Dominic Bean. Now, just taking a look quick, I want to show you we are 68-43, 13 games up on the Royals. So this is a playoff race that is pretty much a lock for us to win the AL Central this year. It is not that competitive. And I also want to show you because we have a Cy Young candidate with Tariq Skubal pitching at a 1.63 ERA right now, and could be our first Cy Young candidate. We also have he's not necessarily up here anymore. He's having a down month, but Juanciel Perez was up in the Rookie of the Year race and could end up being that, but I'm thinking Colton Cowser and Caminero are probably doing too well for us to win that Rookie of the Year. But we will see you at the end of the season, where hopefully Skubal can lock up that Cy Young and we can lock up not much of a rebuild, huh? In our first season, we go 101-61 and win the division, taking on the winner of the wild card. Regular season coming to an end. That means that we are the 1 seed in the AL this season, coming off of what was probably one of the most fantastic pitching seasons I've seen from an entire rotation, including the ace of the staff, who I am very confident wins the Cy Young. Tariq Skubal wins the Cy Young of 2024 with a 2.0 ERA, 207 strikeouts, and 17 wins for him this season. Absolutely dominated. A 2 ERA is crazy. Kind of to lock up that early in his FIP of 2.63. I mean, it's funny to say he actually had a better season whip and FIP wise last year than he did this year, but the 3 shutouts, 5 complete games, and just playing more really helped him. So we have one of our Cy Young Award winners, Tariq Skubal, and I also already extended him long term to 2032, giving him a backloaded contract for $204 million. I think he signed an extension, but it was not necessarily in here yet. But we have Skubal locked up. Sadly, it does not look like we got any other awards, but we should look quick at Gold Gloves, which, sad. Urshela, McKinstry, and Manning all with runner-ups on Gold Glove on that side. And Silver Slugger, we have nobody. So we still need to rack up the rest of the awards, meaning that even if we happen to win a World Series this year, it will not necessarily matter, even though Skubal dominated this year across the board. And Kerry Carpenter up there in batting average. I just want to look at our team rankings quick. So hitting wise, we were not good. We were 19th, middle of the pack in that. But our pitching, if we go look at our ERA, we were number 1, and it's not even close. This pitching staff was insane all year. Skubal, Mize, Manning, Flaherty, everybody was just knocked it out of the park. We had one of the best fielding and defensive teams all season. So we have a lot of those already locked up. Best pitching, best defense already. We just need some bats, and we need bats badly. Taking a quick look, pitching rotation, bullpen wise, and I think they only sent down nobody. Bullpen wise, 3-5, 138, 209, 327, 354. Foley had blown 10 saves, and this is why I was like, we need to go get an actual closer, because we were making a run, and I could not rely on a guy that had blown 10 saves. 156 from Holton. Brisky never actually played, and 258 from Scott, getting 36 saves this season. Now our starting lineup, our starting rotation: Skubal with 2, Flaherty with a 3.26. 3.63 from Reese Olson, 3.16 from Matt Manning, and a 2.83 from Mize. I also extended Casey Mize and Jack Flaherty, locking them up long term, which means that like Jackson Joby, I think it's Job. It's Joby or Job. Feel free to correct me. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. is kind of a little stuck now, knowing that I am going to keep Skubal, Flaherty, and Mize long term, and knowing that Manning is already pretty good and Reese Olson is pretty good. Now, Reese Olson probably looks more like a bullpen arm than anything, but Joby, and then we have the pitcher that we just drafted as well as a potential guy there. Now, lineup wise, first take a quick look at AAA. Nobody got sent down to, oh, that's AA. AAA, Torkelson got sent down. He hit 208, 273 on base, 365 slugging. Honestly, pretty bad, but I also signed him to a long-term extension because I have a feeling he will develop. He usually does in this game. Now, obviously, I'm using a different roster than normal, and he had a negative WAR season. And I wanted to take advantage of that, knowing that he would be very cheap right now. And so I signed him for, I think, 14 years at $3 million per year. If he ends up reaching his potential, we will be paying a 90 overall first baseman $3 million. Can't get much better than that. Otherwise, in our AAA, Javi Baez played up at the majors most of the season, 218, 245. He's bad, but I got some value out of him for a little while. And we sent Colt Keith down. Looks like they brought him back up. Or maybe, oh no, he got hurt. Never mind. Juancil Perez was in the Rookie of the Year race for a large part of the season, hitting 15 home runs and hitting 256, but his potential went down and he got worse. So no Rookie of the Year and probably not a part of the future. Mark Canha, very good, 317 off the bench, and Sano hit 309 since we traded for him, bringing him up as a potential bat, often in the spot of Torkelson, who was not very good. He will be our starter at first base during the playoff run with Torkelson off the bench. I brought in Elvis Andrus, dealing with injuries throughout the season, and otherwise, the rest of our lineup, McKinstry hit 265, Kerry Carpenter was the big bat right here, hitting 295 and 30 home runs. This will be one of our more interesting ones. We are not going to sign him long term. We are going to let him reach that arbitration date and then decide free agency at that point, because we will have Riley Green, Max Clark, Parker Meadows, and then the other center fielder that we just drafted in Bean as well. Riley Green, not a good year from him, 228, 21 home runs. So we need to see improvement from him next season. I think we will get that. But Urshela, decent year. Vierling, decent year. Jake Rogers, decent year from a catcher. You like to see that. And then Ibanez was not good. And Sano was good. So I'm going to make our quick adjustments to our lineup and rotation, and then we will play the winner of the Boston Red Sox and Texas Rangers. Taking on the defending champion Texas Rangers, we are going to go Skubal, then Flaherty, and then Reese Olson to start off this playoff run. Skubal gets lost. That is a bullpen loss in the 10th inning as we lose to Texas in game 1. Flaherty versus DeGrom. And this is a 9th inning. Hey, we win in the 9th. Thanks to a nice walk-off there, at least in extras. Reese Olson versus John Gray gives us a 2-1 deficit as we go Matt Manning versus Lorenzen. This is our chance. We have man on second and third for Miguel Sano. And we lost Matt Manning there, but Casey Mize versus Jacob deGrom. I think what we are going to do, because we're going to have the Matt Manning injury to worry about too, I think what this will end up doing is it's going to put Skubal versus DeGrom, which I think is okay. It's been 6 days. Skubal versus DeGrom for game 5. And we lose to the Texas Rangers in 5. And that will be our first playoff run. That is okay. The Orioles defeat the Cardinals in the 2024 World Series. Hey, when you want to talk about getting a completely different result than normal, that is a different result than I've normally seen. Austin Hayes with the World Series MVP. Santander gets himself postseason MVP on this side, and Nolan Gorman on this side. Well, that'll be it for this season, meaning we are going to go into the off season needing to get a little bit more offense, but I think we've got great pitching to kind of build off of for the upcoming seasons. And we already have one of our goals, having one Cy Young winner locked up in Tariq Skubal. Taking a look at our 2025 roster, we've made several small changes along the margins, as I kind of expected to do. We've kept our top rotation the same, and we did bring back Tanner Scott to be our closer on a 4-year extension to be the closer long-term for us. And as well, if he ends up being a poor closer, we will move him to just being a lefty bullpen arm. Having a lefty is still valuable. We did sign Michael Fulmer, former Rookie of the Year, so that at least we have one Rookie of the Year on this roster in case we happen to win a World Series now. That's still not enough, but we do have one Rookie of the Year under our belt. We obviously only have one Cy Young as well, so even if we did that, we would still need to get another Cy Young guy. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because I also brought in a former MVP in Paul Goldschmidt, who is more of just a bench bat. Sign him with a club option, and my thought is Torkelson's still not really batting very well. He's still swinging and missing a lot, so I'd rather Torkelson be able to kind of learn from Goldschmidt somewhat. We also brought in former Tiger JD Martinez as well. He's got a Hank Aaron, he's got the Silver Sluggers, so he has some of the awards. If we keep him long term, obviously not long term, but if we keep him for a little while and go for a contention, then we are a little bit closer. The other free agent move we made was we brought in Gleyber Torres to be a long-term second baseman. I did not have a lot of faith in Andy Ibanez after the last season, and while obviously he wouldn't be a long-term guy anyways, I see him more as a bench bat. And the last one we brought in was Elias Diaz to be our bench catcher for this season while we wait on Dylan Dingler to develop. So that'll be our lineup going into this upcoming season. The hope is that we can get another Cy Young and maybe an MVP. No, I'm just kidding. We're not getting an MVP, but one step closer at least. Having a few guys on the roster that hit those goals, I guess. And yeah. Starting the 2025 draft, we're struggling a little bit offensively. We still don't have any real offensive output, and our pitching staff is, they're struggling to win games when they are being lit up the way that they are. So we are kind of in a need of just continuously improving our lineups and our bats, and so that is kind of our priority here in this draft, to see what we can get. But there's some interesting prospects near the top that we might be able to get, knowing how we scouted. Stephen Chang, Bert Gregg, Manny Murillo, all interesting ones, and Stephen Chang is available. So, taking a look at our prospects, Stephen Chang is considered number 1 on the board, but he is injured. Not necessarily a guy you want to take if you don't have to. Manny Murillo is more interesting simply because, he's safe. There's also this Kevin Rayburn, who is an interesting prospect in my mind too, and a Tory Miller. But I think what we're going to do, if we don't get Stephen Chang, that's okay because he's injured. I will take him with the second pick if possible, but we are going to go with the safer pick and go Manny Murillo here. And Stephen Chang is gone. So Stephen Chang did not last. Which makes sense, by the way. He was the number 1 rated guy. You can't really, use your first pick of the draft on a guy who was injured. And so that's all right. Oh, Stephen Wong's bat skills are crazy. But so are his. So we might be able to get him. Okay. We are going to go with another position player in Tory Miller. And Stephen Wong doesn't have high potential, so we will wait just in case he is still available. We're going to go with the safe pick in Pedro Lerma. And then I will hopefully, looks like he's gone. Our catcher is gone. So I will show you what our draft picks end up with. I am thinking we might not make the playoffs this season because our bats have been so bad. Taking a look at our draft picks, it doesn't look like we drafted very well. Looks like Manny Murillo was okay at an 86 potential, but nothing real special. Torrey Miller was on the low end of his potential range, which kind of sucks. Lerma was a safe pick, but also on the lower end. I mean, at least he's an 82 potential guy. Could be an interesting guy. This was an injured player that I took a swing on, and yeah, he'll play right away next season. He'll be up. But besides that, nothing else. 2 relievers at the bottom end. I do want to check and see where or what that pitcher ended up being. I think it was Chang. There's a lot of green on this one. I'm not seeing a whole lot of blue. Oh wow! So that guy. Did I miss him? Probably like, oh, you're dumb. You missed him. He was right there. There he is. Stephen Chang, 84 potential. Okay. Not bad then. I don't think we did too bad. We are 66 and 47, not winning our division. Our offense is really bad, and our defense has regressed. So we are not necessarily seeing the help from the defense to help our pitching this year that we were last year. And a lot of our pitching staff did regress too, a little bit too. So you can see Reese Olson down to a 4.7 right there. So we're not as good as we were last year. Last year was kind of a fluke year for us. But I'm hoping that this can still maybe be a wild card team. It's a 93 and 69 season. We'll be taking on the winner of the wild card, meaning that I believe we are 2 seed this season. Once again, led by an amazing pitching staff with a Cy Young Award winner of Tariq Skubal getting a 2nd one, and a Rookie of the Year, Jace Young, meaning that we do not need to keep a Fulmer. So Skubal getting that, and then Jace Young getting a Rookie of the Year this season really helps us kind of start to stack up some of these awards. Gleyber, 2nd Gold Glove there for Torres. No Gold Gloves there, so we still need something there, and he was 2nd in Silver Slugger as well. And Kerry Carpenter was 3rd in the Silver Slugger for this, so we didn't get a single Silver Slugger. So we still need to get some of those, but we do have some interesting players with Jace Young and with Skubal. And interestingly enough, I want to say this: Jace Young in the beginning of the year was hitting so bad I moved him down to the minors and then brought him back up. When I brought him back up, he ended up playing well enough to get himself into the Rookie of the Year case, and then ended up hitting 276, which is fantastic. He is now a core element to this team, and he will have to stay because he is our Rookie of the Year. And we have 2 Cy Youngs, but not 2 Cy Young winners. So Skubal not necessarily helping our case, as we still need to rack up another Cy Young winner. Taking a look at our rotation this season, Flaherty 349, and I saw that Manning was at a 289. So Manning also fantastic season for him. Just needs to strike out guys a little bit more to be able to get into this conversation, I think. Though with Skubal being here and being as dominant as he is, it's going to be really difficult for him to have a chance to take this away. Tanner Scott was leading the reliever of the year race, which was making me really excited. And then he blew like 4 saves in a row. So Tanner Scott was pretty rough there at the end, and threw away our chance of getting a reliever of the year. Lineup wise, Goldschmidt was regressed really, really hard. I don't think he'll be our MVP for long on this team. And Torkelson was so bad, I sent him down to the minors this past season because he was so bad. It's funny, I was saying we don't have a lot of offense. Last part of the season, we did get some picking up from Perez, from Carpenter, from Green, picked it up a little bit, getting to 252. Gleyber, 287. He was a good signing for us. And look at Javier Baez hitting 238. That's not really an accomplishment, but I can be excited, I guess. Vierling hitting 269. So let me adjust. I think I just have to adjust our bullpen and a little bit of our lineup. And then we will play the winner of Baltimore and Texas. Now that I've fixed our lineup, moving some of our bullpen arms out, and then bringing back JD Martinez and Jace Young, who I forgot to mention. JD Martinez did hit like 25 home runs for us this year, so good season for him. We are going to play the defending champion Baltimore Orioles. So after losing to the defending champion Texas Rangers last year, now we have to play the defending champion Baltimore Orioles. Skubal versus Wells, Flaherty versus Bradish, and then Manning versus Rodriguez to start this series. We get a nice 3-2 victory for Tariq Skubal against the Orioles. Then Flaherty versus Bradish gets a 7-6 victory, giving us a 2-0 lead against the defending champion Baltimore Orioles for Game 3, which is going to likely be a loss. Okay. Never mind. I read that wrong. I saw Bautista. I thought that we were down 5-0. We won 5-0. So I'm going to stop simulating right there as we absolutely dominate these first 3 games with our ace pitching of Skubal, Flaherty, and then Manning. So pitching rotation. I think because of that, their stamina should be reset, meaning we are going to go Skubal, Flaherty, Manning, Mize, because we have a 4-day break and Skubal has not pitched in over a week. Now we are playing the Astros in the ALCS, and our chance to go on to the World Series will be Skubal versus Garcia, then Flaherty versus Fried, then Manning versus Javier. So interestingly enough, our team of 0 offense is still producing enough to get some offense. Skubal versus Garcia loses 1-8. We do not get offense that game. Flaherty versus Fried. We win 7-3 in this game. So it is a 1-1 series as we go Matt Manning versus Christian Javier, getting a 6-5 victory, leaving for Casey Mize versus Framber Valdez. As please don't blow the save. Oh, please. I need to bench him. And no. The reason I have to hit no is this glitched out last time I did this. Interestingly enough, what you did not see behind the scenes was in the first season I had that glitch happen. I didn't have it saved, and we beat the Rangers, and then I had the glitch and it froze, and I had to reset. But we are 3-1 lead. I have to fix our lineup right now. Oh, Elias Diaz will be the guy there, and Jake Rogers will be out. So we have a 3-1 lead. Skubal versus Fried in Game 5. We get what is likely a loss 5-4 in probably extra innings, thanks to a Reese Olson blown game. Flaherty versus Garcia, and that is a 1-3 loss for Manning versus Javier in Game 7. We are going to quick manage this game to play the Astros and hopefully advance to the World Series. Our offense is rough. I think what we are going to do here is we are going to go... No, we want... McKinstry's not doing bad, though. I just really don't want him playing defense. Can McKinstry play outfield? He can. Okay. All right, this is going to have to be it. We are going to go... Oh, I just messed that up. My bad. I'm still messing it up. Okay. So, advance. Game 7 of the ALCS, the Tigers versus the Astros. As we get a nice walk from Jace Young, and Manning gives up a triple to Yordan Alvarez. Now, the thing that is going to hit us hard is we still do not have much offense for this team. So...
Ball 4, take your base.
Why is Garrett Hill in? I think that means Matt Manning got injured. And I don't like to see that.
Take your base, ball 4.
Losing your second best pitcher in the middle of a playoff run, especially in game 7, not what you want to see.
3.
And our offense, we just can't get anything from our offense. We do have a man on first and second for Andy Ibanez, who grounds out. We have to make a pitching change here. We are going to go to Tyler Holton. That was probably the wrong decision, knowing that he's a lefty. And Altuve hits a grand slam to take a 5-0 lead. And that's when our offense finally shows up here. Just a little bit too late. As we have to get past Hader. Matt Manning going down hurt us a lot because I couldn't go to Garrett Hill earlier. And we will bench him as the Astros defeat the Tigers, and we blow a 3-1 lead in the playoffs as Houston goes to play San Diego, and we will sim the rest of the postseason, and the Padres defeat the Astros in the World Series. That is a Jackson Merrill World Series MVP, Altuve on the other side, and Campusano on this side, as the Padres get their, I believe that's their first ever World Series. Congratulations to the Padres. We will go to this next season continuing to try to boost our offense after another really weak offensive season from the Detroit Tigers. Starting the 2026 season, we have a few new additions once again, with the idea of continuously trying to add some of these award winners in case we end up being victorious. And the roster that we have, that we made these adjustments for, is not too much. We still have a lot of the guys that we were running with. The only thing we made in the pitching staff was adding Craig Kimbrell, who has 3 Reliever of the Year awards and a Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year we already have locked up with Chase Young. But Craig Kimbrell will have the Reliever of the Year award, which will help as he can hold on to that until Tanner Scott hopefully wins it. And then we won't need to worry if Scott doesn't win it and then we win the whole thing. We at least had somebody with the Reliever of the Year on this team. Hopefully we can also get a Cy Young level production from a Matt Manning, a Casey Mize, or a Jack Flaherty. That way we can get our second Cy Young. When it comes to the lineup, we made one significant move, and that was bringing in Luis Arias, who has a Silver Slugger as well as a batting title. This locks up our batting title award for a while. This is why I brought him in. I know Kerry Carpenter has the ability to win this. And so if Carpenter wins this, maybe Arias becomes expendable because we would probably rather keep Carpenter. Basically, if Carpenter wins it, then we'll have 2 guys with it and we can make some changes. So we have 1 Silver Slugger right here with Arias. We have our Rookie of the Year in Chase Young. We have our other, I believe he has not won a Silver Slugger. We brought in another Silver Slugger in JT Realmuto to play catcher this season. So now we have 1, 2, 3 Silver Slugger awards on our lineup, and technically, if we want to be picky about it, we could also say that we have Javier Baez, who has a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove, meaning the only thing we currently do not have lineup-wise is an MVP and a second MVP. So we still need 2 MVPs. Now, what this could mean for the future is, let's say we go on to win this World Series this year. That means that 2 of these players on this roster would have to eventually win MVPs for us to be able to consider that, and we would still need another Cy Young winner on this roster. So I don't think are close yet. I think we have a few of the key components yet, because I do think that a guy like Javier Baez will be somebody who we will replace eventually once his contract is finally up. We have 2 more years where we are still locked into the $23 million of Javier Baez. Once that is up, we should have some money to actually spend and preferably go get ourselves maybe a former MVP. The only former MVP that was available was Paul Goldschmidt, and I did not feel like bringing him back. So we will go into this draft once again attempting to acquire position players. Right now, Mark Scott is considered the #1 prospect in all of baseball, and then Job is also up here. So I think what we will do at some point is we will move Reese Olson over to the bullpen. Garrett Hill will probably be gone as a guy that we just don't need to keep. And Reese Olson will be a bullpen arm, allowing Job, and then also Kyle Cox and Mark Scott, these 3 to come up and take that spot in the rotation. One of them will, maybe 2 of them, and maybe we'll move on from like a Mize or a Matt Manning. So going into this season, our goal is get an MVP, get a Cy Young from one of the other pitchers, and then win a championship. I'll see you at the draft. Starting the 2026 draft, we've seen a major regression from our roster going into this season, and I'm hoping that in this draft we can get some players that maybe will be more trait piece eligible. A lot of times when we are drafting by 2026, there's not a lot of players that we end up keeping unless it's super long term, like or it's like a C potential guy who is a high overall who could be very interesting at the top end. Now, I did draft once again looking mainly at JUCO and at college level players, but I didn't see a whole lot of super interesting prospects. This is probably my favorite one, even though he doesn't have a lot of hitting stats. I just like how he's kind of a safe pick in Jeff Gonzalez. The other one that's really good is this pitcher, Jaime Moya, my bad. And the only thing I have an issue with is that walks per 9 is going to be really, really low for a first round pick. But do you wait? He's probably not going to be there by the second round. That's the problem. I still think we're going to take this Gonzalez guy. He's just safer, and while his hit stats aren't that good, he still brings a lot of defense and could just be interesting. He's already kind of close. And maybe Moya will be available with the second pick. He's not. So, okay. That's not necessarily a big deal that we lose out on that, but still, you know, you'd like to see yourself be able to draft those types of players. I just think it's also valuable to take position players early because there's not a lot of really good ones down the line. As you can kind of see, I don't see a lot of really interesting prospects in this class at all. Besides maybe this Ty Marlin guy, who once again doesn't really have a whole lot of like crazy stats. You know, his potential is going to end up being like just 80 flat. Okay, so I think we're going to take, do we want safe pitcher here and then not safe pitcher, maybe? Let's just take this guy. You know what? That could be interesting. He could be good. And now with pick 69, I'm going to go take that pitcher in Dan Felsch, who has the highest potential range. And yeah, I'll show you our results as I kind of look through the rest of these picks. JD Martinez has regressed to a point where really his only value is the awards he has on our roster. And so we are going to call the Athletics, who put Brent Rooker up on the trade block, and we are going to trade them Andy Ibanez and Wilmer Flores. Flores is out of options. He will come up next season, and I don't want to bring him up because I have Job to bring up, and I have Cox to bring up, and I have a bunch of guys to bring up. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get Rooker here, and that should hopefully fill that hole in the outfield for the rest of this season. We are in an intense wild card race. It's not necessarily looking like we're having a great season here. Taking a look at our draft picks, Jeff Gonzalez at the top end was one of those guys that is a safer pick, 88 potential. Looks like he hit kind of what we were looking for. Domingo was a miss. He was kind of a risky take there. 74 potential, nothing really special, but he could be interesting. I might switch him to relief pitcher just to kind of boost his chance of succeeding a little bit more, because I don't think he looks like a closer at all to me. And then Dan Felsch as a long-term pitching prospect could be very, very interesting. I also took Ty Marlin, who was interesting as a second baseman. 85 potential is actually nice for an all-around guy, and the rest of them were not necessarily anything good. I do want to see what that pitcher was that we did not take, because it looks like, yeah, Jaime Moya, okay, 87 potential. Wow, okay, that catcher, very good. Lindstrom, yeah, so there were some good players near the top there, and looks like we took the wrong closer as well. Yeah, all right. Richie Moya, 99. Okay, he was on my, I think I had him scouted. I did not have him scouted to that level. All right, interesting. Well, that's that draft. Like I said, we are in a wild card hunt right now. We are 56 and 55, having a real down year from the pitching staff again. The bullpen has been awful this year. And our offense has a few really good players, but a lot of guys not doing anything. And so I was originally going to sell, but I just didn't see any real prospects. So I thought, hey, maybe Brent Rooker would be an interesting purchase at the deadline for future, because he still has a little bit of time on his contract. Hopefully we can, fight, maybe get ourselves this wild card, maybe get the division, because the Royals are on a slide as well. But it's going to be a tight race for us. All right. I did the jump in so that you could take a look at this right now. This game is the last game of the season. The Tigers are tied for the division title. Jack Flaherty is currently in second place in the Cy Young race. He is also throwing a perfect game through 9 innings with 2 outs. The question is, can he finish this off with Gavin Cross? We're going to watch this, and hopefully he can. And we can get a perfect game and maybe a Cy Young from Flaherty.
Line drive.
Who gives up a hit at the very end? That'll be it for Flaherty, giving up a hit. I shouldn't have jumped in. We should have just watched. They do pull away with the victory, going 89 and 73 and winning our division, taking on the winner of the wild card. That was a 2-1. He did end up giving up a run in the 9th, sadly. All right, taking a look at award winners. We have a Gold Glove from Kerry Carpenter, a Hank Aaron from Brent Rooker, an MVP from Brent Rooker, and a batting title from Luis Ariz. Flaherty finishes second in the Cy Young. I wonder if a perfect game gets him there. Damn it. All right. And the reason that sucks is because if he gets that Cy Young, then we have our 2 Cy Young pitchers locked up, because I think I have Flaherty locked up long term, yeah. Now, maybe he can still compete for one next year, but so close for Jack Flaherty this season. But we have we now have one of our MVPs. We have another batting title from Ariz, meaning that he now has 3, so he can be locked up. And we have a Hank Aaron from Rooker, meaning what I should probably do is lock up Brent Rooker long term, simply because he could end up being the future first baseman. Maybe we move Torkelson because of that, because now we have an MVP on the roster. When it comes to Gold Gloves, we just had the Kerry Carpenter one, and then I think Silver Sluggers, the only one we had was Rooker. So we still need to get some more Silver Sluggers on our team. We still need some more Gold Glove winners. But Ariz, and now with Kerry Carpenter winning a Gold Glove, and I believe Ariz has one. No, he does not. He just has Silver Slugger. We still need some defensive guys, but we have the offense now. And the question is, can we win a World Series? If we win one, we'll be in a unique situation. I'll explain what that means if we get there, but first we need to win one. Taking a look at league leaders, Flaherty with innings pitched and WAR, and Rooker with home runs, average, hits, slugging percentage, on base percentage, all that. Or on base OPS. So great season from everybody that we brought in. We literally brought in Rooker and Arias, and when we brought in Rooker, we were not leading our division, and we ended up with a division lead after that. So taking a look at our pitching rotation, I talked a little bit this season about it being pretty weak. If you consider that we had 2 and then 2-1-2, Skubal with a 3.75 is way down. Flaherty with a 3.07 this season was a Cy Young candidate, so maybe pitching around the league is just worse. And then Matt Manning with a 2.84 wasn't in the competition, sadly. Strikeout numbers just aren't high enough, but man, he might have pitched better than the whip. So he just got a little bit luckier defensively, it looks like. And Garrett Hill was a great bullpen arm, sitting there at a 3.27. And then we had basically the rest of the bullpen struggled. I brought Foley, moved him back to the closer because Tanner Scott blew 10 saves. And it looks like Kimbrel had a 4.85 and didn't have necessarily a good year either. So our bullpen struggled. And I hope that they won't. We will bring Kimbrel back up and then send down, actually Wentz was good. We'll send down, I think, Vest for the playoffs. Lineup wise, first taking a look at AAA, JD Martinez was down to 2.26. Not very good season from him, but he was a part of it, which is important to have as a former award winner. And Baddoo with a 2.27, nothing really special from him. Might be a guy we should move off of, especially if we're going to keep Rooker now long term. Lineup wise on the MLB side, our bench, Vierling moved to the bench a little bit, was kind of interesting. I brought Baez back up. He hit 261 in the 23 bat appearances, and Torkelson, just another meh year from him. We have him long term, but man, his production has been horrible. I hope that he can continue to develop, but it's been bad for him right now. And he's already 26, and we have pretty much seen nothing of value from Torkelson since he's gotten here. He might just be a guy that we should trade. He's got a really nice contract, but I don't know. And then we had Arias, who won the batting title this year, hitting 321 and 192 hits. Torres had a pretty good year. He was in the Silver Slugger race for the second base position, but didn't eventually win it, sadly. He might be a guy I move. We just have so many guys that are coming now with Keith, and we have our outfielders. And so the question is, where this is going to get a little crowded on this roster, and how are we going to make changes to make it not crowded? Because Riley Green should eventually be good. 272, 341. He improved. He got up to 10 home runs this year and 10 triples, or 25 home runs and 10 triples. Rooker, obviously, your MVP. McKinstry, 276. Young with a 237, bouncing back down, but hitting 32 home runs this season as he has found his power, and a potential Silver Slugger guy, maybe, for us. And then Jake Rogers. Once again, this catching position has been pretty weak for us. And so we're in a unique spot there. I'm going to make adjustments to the roster, and then we will play the winner of Tampa Bay and Texas. The last season we lost in Game 7 of the ALCS to the Houston Astros. This season, let's see if I can get through the ALDS against the Tampa Bay Rays with Shane McClanahan, who stole our Cy Young as the second matchup. So Skubal versus Taj Bradley in Game 1 gets us a 6-1 victory. The Cy Young versus Cy Young runner-up gives us a 5-3 victory, as Jack Flaherty is better. And then Matt Manning versus Drew Rasmussen in Game 3 gives us a sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays to advance to the ALCS to play the Boston Red Sox. I believe stamina-wise, we should be good to go back to the top of our rotation, meaning that we will go Skubal, Flaherty, Manning. And hopefully we can just get another sweep. Come on. Versus the Boston Red Sox, Skubal, wins 12-1 as we continue to have offensive output. Flaherty versus Pivetta in Game 2 is a 10-4 loss. Manning versus Houck in Game 3. This is a chance for Real Muto to save us. And we lose that one. I think that goes to... Did that go to extras? Yeah, we did. 10th inning. They just kind of lit us up in the 10th. That means that the pitcher that got blown up was Lange and... yeah, Lange. All right. Casey Mize versus Cutter Crawford in Game 4. That is a 2-2 series now for Reese Olson versus Whitlock. The question is, do we want Reese Olson to pitch or do we want to move to Skubal against Whitlock? They pitched Whitlock in Game 1. I think let's just check stamina first. No, he's not full stamina. Flaherty is, though. But we're going to give Reese Olson the shot. Pitch in this game. And we shouldn't have. As he gets lit up early in the 5th inning. We are now down 3-2 to the Boston Red Sox for Skubal versus Pivetta. And Skubal... Oh, blows it at the end. In the 9th inning... Skubal gives up what is probably a home run. No, it was like a triple or something like that. And that ends it as Skubal gives up a run and Foley gives up a run, blowing the game in the 9th inning of Game 6 of the ALCS. We once again do not advance to the World Series. And the Dodgers defeat the Red Sox in the 2026 World Series. So taking a look at the awards, Willie Calhoun wins World Series MVP. Duran with it on the AL side and Mookie Betts on the NL side. We are going to have to extend Brent Rooker. And we might make some actual trades here as I think it's time for Job and Cox to come up. So I need to clear up some of our rotation. I need to clear up some of our bullpen. And I think we need to clear up some of our lineup, as I also do think it's time for Colt Keith to come up. For Dominic Bean maybe to come up this season. Maybe not. Maybe Bean stays down for a little bit of while longer. But I think we're on the verge, and we have one more year under the Javier Baez contract. To make room for the upcoming Jackson Jobe as well as Kyle Cox, I'm going to trade one of the pitchers. And the one that's going to be out the door is going to be Casey Mize. I locked him up long term. I know he has the potential to end up still being that ace level production, but I really want to get our younger guys in. And he just kind of was blocking the path. And we are going to try and get ourselves a top end closer with that from the Chicago Cubs, trading for Devin Williams, former reliever of the year. So I don't necessarily need to keep Craig Kimbrell on the roster. And hopefully he can be the back end of the bullpen that Scott was so poor at being last year, and we can put Scott more in a setup role. We're also going to get a catching prospect and throwing in Badu with that as we do. And with a lot of our players being out of options, we're going to have to move off McKinstry. He's in the last year of his deal, so he feels like the odd man out. And we're going to trade him and Juansil Perez for 2 prospects that have 3 options from the Giants. Starting the 2027 season after 2 straight ALCS exits, we are looking at probably the best roster we've had, but we're still kind of in flux because we have a lot of rookies that need to come up right now. And because of that, we've made some changes, made a few adjustments. Obviously, you saw the Casey Mize trade. We just made another trade moving off of McKinstry. But the other thing is, I'm trying to abide and get as many of these guys for the trophy case that we can. So what we did first is we did extend Brent Rooker, giving him a contract extension, which is kind of essential when you consider, like, he won the MVP, so we have an MVP on the roster. He has a Hank Aaron and a Silver Slugger, so he knocks out 3 of our necessary accomplishments that we need to get. The rest of the team that we made the adjustments for are, I'm cheesing the system a little bit with one of these signings, and that's Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw has an MVP, a Gold Glove, and a Cy Young, making sure that he has 3 of those things. So we now have enough Cy Youngs, having 2 Cy Young pitchers with Kershaw and Skubal. We have enough MVPs with the Kershaw and the Brent Rooker. We have our Hank Aaron and Rooker. We have our batting title in Luis Arias, and we have Gold Gloves from a couple guys. I'll show the rest of those guys who have Gold Gloves too. We also have our reliever of the year, who we traded for in Devin Williams, to now be our closer. And as I did not trust Tanner Scott, I moved him to a reliever role, just for the future. Now, I still want to see another Cy Young because Kershaw's only 1 year. If we do not win this year, one of these other guys are going to need to win the Cy Young. This is a this season only last hurrah for Kershaw. I just like the rhyming there. The other thing in the lineup that we went out and did is we went out and got Alejandro Kirk, who has a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove, and I think is a safe long-term bet at catcher. Rogers' contract was up, and I have not liked the production from Jake Rogers, and so I was deciding between going with a couple platoon catchers and letting Dingler continuously get better, or just going for a big time catcher and going for either like a Stevenson or Alejandro Kirk, and Kirk was the one that best fit our goals. I also brought in Salvi Perez for more Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers as well. So we have, with our Silver Slugger awards now, Kerry Carper, he is a Gold Glove. We have 1 from Rooker, 1 from Silver, or 2 technically from Arias, but 1 from Arias, Alejandro Kirk, and Salvi, meaning we now have 4 of our Silver Sluggers that we need to have, meaning we have accomplished that goal, and we still have our Rookie of the Year in Jace Young. So currently, we are meeting our goal, meaning if we win the World Series this season, we have accomplished this. Now, we are still on like thin ice because I don't think this team's actually that good. I think we're close, but I think we still need a lot of production coming from a Riley Green to improve, Gleyber Torres to improve. We obviously have the rookies of Colt Keith coming up. I need Jace Young to produce, and this is the last chance I'm giving Spencer Torkelson. If he does not produce this season, he will be out the door. And so that's it, really. We're going to give Job a chance in the rotation this season. And then we have Cox ready as well to go. And Francis Goodman might come up soon. Mark Scott is on the way. So we've got a lot of pitchers that are on their way too. Hopefully we can get ourselves another Cy Young just to be safe. And hopefully we can get ourselves another MVP that's not Rooker just to be safe. But you never know if that's going to happen. So we are going to go to the draft, and hopefully this season, I think I'm just going to draft like all pitching, because the next draft is probably guys that are not going to be on this team, and we're just going to try to stack up prospects to trade, just like I said I was going to do with the 2026 guys. I just haven't found players I want to trade for yet. Going into the 2027 draft, our team, by the way, this season, let's just say that our trainer is getting paid. We have lost Flaherty, Skubal. We lost Henry Malloy. It's been injury after injury after injury this season. We are below 500, but we're starting to get some of our guys back now. I'm hoping that can lead us to a run in the second half of the season. But when I talked about like, can we win this season specifically? I'm doubting that. I don't think that's going to happen. All right. First things first, I found some very interesting players, but it looks like a lot of them, there's still a decent amount of these guys that I found interesting that are available, including Alfonso Velez, who is a fantastic defensive player, who is quite interesting. And then we have some top end pitchers here. I think what we're going to do, I know I talked about going potential, but I'm a big fan of this. Drafting Alfonso Velez. Now we have pick 29. We could still get another one of these guys. But there's so many good pitchers that, like, could we wait? Could we take this catcher, for example? But could we wait on him? And there's so many good catchers later on too, like William Chen, who is gonna, I think that's got to be my second round pick, or that's got to be my second round pick. Okay, because of that, I think we're gonna take one of these top end pitchers. So do we go? Let's just check. Hits per 9, walks per 9. This guy's got it better. Oh, but his interest is so much lower. Does it really matter? Looks like they're both, I mean, they're both decent. And they both opted out. There's so many good players up here. You know what? We're going to go guaranteed. I'm going to go Bill Gonzalez. Asuna's still there. Bike's still there. I want one of the catchers. Do I want Chen or Ike or Lima? No. Safer pick here is Chen. All right, I'm gonna draft the rest of them. I think there's a lot of really good, cool prospects. Taking a look at our draft pick, it looks like Alonso Velez might have been one of the worst prospects that we drafted, but he's still very, very good at the 95 fielding and then good contact. Like, this is the type of guy that you want out in the outfield. With our intentions, of course, trying to get guys who get on base a lot and guys who can possibly win Gold Gloves. Alonso Velez is one of those players. But the middle end of this lineup, like the starting pitchers and catchers that we drafted, Bill Gonzalez is very interesting. Chen is a power catcher who's got a good arm. You've got James Bike, who is a safer pick that we took, who's got good hits per 9 and walks per 9. Grady with a 97 potential, and then 99 potential. Chris Barrero at catcher could be one of the greatest catchers all time. He's 23 already, but you know, very, very good. And then Julio Sanchez is already a 79 overall, meaning that dude could come up right now. So yeah, good draft. I will say this. It is quite disappointing to see, if I go take a look at the awards, the leader is Brent Rooker. However, he has a broken ankle and is out for pretty much the rest of the season. So he will not be winning back-to-back MVPs. And the Cy Young race doesn't look like we're going to have anybody in it because Skubal has been out for so long that I don't think we're going to get any more awards. Maybe Gold Glove. Maybe we can steal a Silver Slugger from somewhere. But man, our team has just not necessarily been that good this year. Batting wise, we are 20th. And if you take Rooker out of that equation, it would be way worse. And pitching wise, it's not like we've been much better. We went from being one of the best pitching staffs ever in the first season to now we're sitting at 4, or at a 4 ERA with 9th in the league. And we need our pitching to be way better than that to make up for the offense of gaps that we have. But yeah, we are now above 500 and are fighting for a wild card spot. Hopefully we can get that with the pitching, but without Rooker, I am concerned. And we have called up like every single rookie that we have this season. So hopefully they can produce. We have won or not necessarily won the division. We are 89 and 73. We have made it as a wild card this season, playing the Astros in the first round of the postseason. We still do not have Brent Rooker back, so we're kind of in a little bit of a tough spot going into this first round of the playoffs, where we actually have to win a series right now. Award winners, Rookie of the Year goes to Jackson Jobe, which is very, very nice to see. We obviously didn't have any other award winners, but I think this also means that technically Jace Young has now become expendable if we need to get rid of him. We have another Gold Glove out of Kirk this year, and then otherwise we got no real production from anyone else in the awards department. League leaders, Flaherty and shutouts. Otherwise, yeah. Riley Green hit up to 302. He's starting to look like he's a legit bat. I gave him a contract extension, and he will be part of this future. Maybe one of the future MVPs, hopefully. I want to see that from him. And then, yeah, home run leader, Aaron Judge in the AL, Acuna in the NL. We are the 4 seed this season, and one of the main reasons for that has been our pitching injuries. Has been pretty rough. Cox, Manning, Flaherty, Job, Skubal are all up, but you can see that they have all played a lot less innings than normal. Last season, they were all around 200 innings. This season, they're all around 140. That's what happens when you have guys who get hurt. Reese Olson is up. They sent Kershaw down. Kershaw was not that bad in what is going to be his last season in the majors. And he, if we win this, would be essential to having that second MVP and Cy Young. Otherwise, we are going to have to continue to wait. But Mark Scott's ready. Devin Williams was not that bad this season, 46 saves coming up, and was a nice fix for Tanner Scott, who still had a 3.6 ERA this season. So Tanner Scott is not a long-term closer for us. I'm going to send Lange down, and we will fix this. But yeah, I mean, Skubal had a fantastic season, but he is regressing, just injury after injury, and he's just too high of an overall, I think, playing a lot of innings. So lineup-wise, first, AAA, I want to show Noah Campbell came up and hit 271, which was very nice to see. And then I don't think any of the other guys are up that should have been. Veerling, this is his last season with us. We are going to let him walk in free agency unless we find, unless he's cheap for a utility bat. But 257 in his last season with us. Malloy, 227. He missed half the season with injuries. Salvador Perez hit 256 at bats from these guys. Kirk played pretty much every game, so Salvi and Dingler never really needed to come in. Luis Arias hit 283. This was a down year for him relatively to what he had done the last 2 seasons. But I mean, it's still Luis Arias. It's still what you want to see from him. Gleyber Torres, 244. He went down as well, production-wise, and I want to see more of this than this as we look forward. Carpenter didn't have really a great year, but hit 30 home runs. Dominic Bean, I brought up in the second half of that season when basically when Rooker went down and he hit 306. So Dominic Bean will be in the outfield next season. We will have Bean, Carpenter, Green, and Rooker as our outfield rotation with Malloy as the bench one. Colt Keith, 213. He was in the Rookie of the Year race for a good portion of the year, but man, he started hitting poorly in the second half. Kirk hit 281, and honestly, I like that. He had over 300 on base percentage, 18 home runs, 243 average. I still wish I could see more, but he's finally a positive WAR player for us. So I think we'll keep him around. And Jace Young was regressing somehow every season. So I'm going to go fix our bullpen, and then we will play our first series against the Houston Astros. Start our wild card series. We're going to go Skubal, then Flaherty, then Manning, as we normally do. And hopefully this can get us in a quick series. And Brent Rooker is no longer injured, but we need to win these next games as our bullpen give up the loss to Houston in this game. We got no offense behind Skubal in game 1 and no offense in game 2 for Flaherty, only scoring 1 run in the 2 playoff games of this wildcard run. Let's sim the rest of this postseason as the Braves defeat the Red Sox in the 2027 World Series. Taking a look at that is Jared Kelenic winning World Series MVP. Devers over here on this side, and Kelenic on this side. With the Red Sox losing back-to-back World Series. Now, we are going to need now. We are not going to be able to keep Kershaw, so we're going to have to replace our secondary Cy Young pitcher as well as our secondary MVP. The year is 2028, and I would say that we adopted and have adjusted our strategy a little bit, but then I made a signing that I don't necessarily know if you could say that I did. But to be honest, and let's say this, because we've regressed from, we made it to the ALCS back-to-back seasons, and then we lost last year in the wild card. But to be completely honest, this is probably the best roster that we put together. And you wonder if, hey, maybe those 2 deep playoff runs that we had early on were more of a mirage. It was just how dominant the pitching staff was as a whole at that point. And, our offense was so bad that it didn't really kind of figure in. And now we're starting to get some offense. And while the pitching isn't necessarily as good, it still has the potential to be top end. And so we are probably putting together the best lineup we have. But I will say, we are taking a risk because we do not have an MVP, or we do not have our second MVP, and we do not have enough Silver Sluggers in the lineup right now. But the hope is that Riley Green can become that, and then that would fix that problem entirely. Now, pitching rotation, I made one significant change, and that is Joe Ryan. I did not go in with the intention of signing a Cy Young winner in free agency. But I had the option of signing Matt Manning for 5 years for $60 million, or Joe Ryan for 5 years for $64 million. I went with Joe Ryan. I'll take the Cy Young winner any day over the guy who didn't, and that will, account for that. Hopefully Flaherty can end up getting this for us too, so that maybe I don't need to keep Joe Ryan, and some of these prospects can come up, and then we can make some moves there. But otherwise, we basically have the Cy Young thing locked, and we've got a lot of really good pitching to help with that. We have Devin Williams still here as our closer, so we still have that fixed. And then I brought up Julio Sanchez, our draft pick last season, in the 6th round. I just brought him up right away because he'll probably regress based on his potential. Lineup wise, we made only significant changes we made were I brought Andrew Vaughn and Alex Kirilloff. I signed off of waivers, picking both of them up. They're both good on base machines. Vaughn less so than Kirilloff, but Vaughn's at least a really good lefty platoon. And so this season with Dominic Bean up here, I think he still has rookie eligibility. I would hope so. I don't necessarily know if he does. I always forget how many days it is for offensive players and then for pitching. Not like that necessarily matters. We already have our rookie of the year in Jackson Jobe and Jace Young. But this is probably the best offense we put together. Maybe Riley Green can get himself an MVP. Maybe we can see another resurgent year as Torkelson gets better. Gleyber Torres could probably bounce back. This is, I think, if any year, our shot to really make a significant run now that we have a really good offense and a really good pitching staff. I'm also relinquishing controls on the scouting. I think anybody that gets picked from now on will no longer really count for what we are attempting to do, but I think we've got the team. Question is, can we hit that last step? Can we hit that last level and get beyond the ALCS and finally make it to and win a World Series? On the last day of the season, Riley Green just got hurt. You gotta be kidding me. The Tigers win 101 games and win our division, taking on the winner of the wild card playoffs. We are the 1 seed once again, and we'll be playing the winner of Minnesota and New York. Now, one of the reasons I mention the Riley Green thing is because your American League MVP was Riley Green, who does not grace the list now because he is injured, sadly. The runner-up was Brent Rooker. He also won the Hank Aaron Award. Riley Green getting an MVP. That is now 2 MVPs on the roster with Rooker and Green. We also... I did see, I want to check first off, no gold gloves, but we got a silver slugger out of him and a silver slugger out of Gleyber Torres, which is very important because that is now our 4th silver slugger on the team, and 5th now that you include Riley Green, who had an insane season, hitting 58 home runs, 298 average, 397 on base, over 1,000 OPS, dominated this year, and we have him locked up long term for only $17 million per year. He is set. Now the problem is that now we have to make a playoff run with this team in mind, and we do not have the appropriate amount of players because Riley Green got hurt. Now, can we win a World Series without your best player? The Braves did it. The Braves did it. But can we? I don't know. Now, we were first in the league in on-base percentage this year and first in the league in ERA, and that comes a lot from the top of the rotation, and Skubal, Flaherty, Joe Ryan all being dominant this year. Julio Sanchez coming up this year as a rookie and hitting 3.29 ERA. Francis Goodman came up partially through the year, 1.88 ERA. And I also had Mark Scott up, who had a 1.56. Now, one of the reasons I brought all these guys up is because my thought being, these guys all played on this team. If we win, we have the opportunity to get more awards, etc. And I hope that we end up pulling this off, because I really want to see if this is one of the best lineups and rotations ever built. Now we go to our lineup. First off, taking a quick look at the AAA, Alex Kirilloff was not a good signing, but he did get on base, but only 37 at-bats. And then I also brought up Manny Murillo, who in 3 games, 4 at-bats, he hit a home run. So good for him. And then Riley Green, obviously you can see here, down in AAA after winning the MVP. Lineup-wise, actual lineup-wise, 300 average for Andrew Vaughn, who platooned and hit only lefties. Fantastic platoon bat to bring in, and one of the reasons is because Jace Young was horrible this year, continuously regressing, getting worse and worse every season. You hate to see it, but hey, he was our rookie of the year. We got him locked up. And yeah, lineup-wise, Dominic Bean doesn't get rookie eligibility because he played too many games last season, but I mean, if you want to call him a rookie, 290 average, 186 hits. He's basically outfield version of Luis Arias. Has like no power, but gets a lot of, just gets on base a lot, which is what you want to see from your leadoff hitter, with Luis Arias now allowing to go into the second position, which the reason for that, boosting his RBIs. 14 home runs for him, still 189 hits. This is an insane top of the lineup. Malloy was not good this year, and he will come out for the playoffs. Brent Rooker, 50 home runs from him, hitting 275. He was great this season, being the home run. Oh, it really gave him the home run champion because Riley Green got hurt. Okay, scratch that. Riley Green is the home run champion, not Brent Rooker. Carpenter hit 300 this season. Gleyber Torres was a silver slugger. Torkelson hit 260 on base, 327, hit 27 home runs. Torkelson finally looking like a legit guy. Actually was up there in the Gold Glove race for his position too for a while. Colt Keith hit 292, finally giving him a shot, but he also platooned more. And then Kirk, 247 with 23 home runs. I had to make some adjustments in the lineup to make up for the Riley Green loss. But this is, I think, the best chance we have, besides maybe next season, before everybody regresses, because everybody played well this year that we needed to play well. And hopefully it can lead us to a World Series. Taking on the Minnesota Twins in this ALDS, we have Skubal, then Flaherty starting off, and then this time Joe Ryan gets to go against his former team with the Minnesota Twins. So hopefully we can get some offense. I know we don't have Riley Green, but I still think we've got a good shot here. Game 1, please, Devin Williams, don't blow the save. The Tigers defeat the Twins 6-5. In Game 2, Flaherty, please, Devin Williams, don't blow the save. The Twins defeat Mike Soroka beat me. Oh no. All right, Joe Ryan versus Pablo Lopez. In Game 3, that is another loss as Joe Ryan loses that one. We are down 2-1 for Kyle Cox, who, oh my God, please, can we get something? The Tigers defeat the Twins 12-7 as we get a nice extra innings win, I'm assuming, or no, just 4 runs in the 9th as we get a powerful offense this game. I'm sorry, I did not read what the situation is. When I see offense, I assume we're down. All right, Game 5, I think we are going to go back to Skubal for this pitching rotation. We're going to go Skubal over Job. I know Job is good, but I just want Skubal. Skubal versus Logan Webb in Game 5. We get the victory. We will be taking on the Astros in the ALCS. Let me go quick and adjust our pitching rotation because it should be Flaherty, then Ryan, then we will go Skubal, then then Job, then Cox. Cox got lit up a little bit in that game. So we will have Flaherty, Ryan, Skubal against the Astros. Okay, Flaherty, 5-3 win. All right, Joe Ryan, get the redemption this time against Houston. Please, Spencel. All right, we get the win right there, 5-4. Thank you. I'm assuming that I'm going to give all the credit to Spencer Torkelson. Great job. 2-0 lead. Skubal versus Javier. 7-1. We have a 3-0 lead in the series for Job versus Hicks. That is a 2-6 loss. We're just going to let it ride. Let it ride. I don't want to touch it. Let it ride. 0-4 loss. 9-1 victory. We will be taking on the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. I think we're going to have Flaherty, Skubal. Okay. So let's first get this look. Ryan, Skubal. Oh, Ryan, Skubal, then Flaherty maybe? Ryan, Skubal, Flaherty, Job, Cox. Preferably I don't have either of these guys pitch, so just give me a 3-0 lead. You know what I mean? Okay. And Atlanta, Strider, Waldrop, and Elder. Okay. That's not that bad then. Okay. Joe Ryan versus Spencer Strider in game 1. That is a 6-2 victory. Tariq Skubal versus Waldrop in game 2. That is a 1-4 loss. Flaherty versus Bryce Elder in game 3. Please let us get this in extras. The Braves defeat the Tigers. How do we, with the bases loaded, not win that game? Okay. 2-1 for Jackson Job. We will pitch him, and we take a 2-2 lead. Now, I don't think we are going to let Cox go. So we will go back to Ryan, then Skubal, then Flaherty. For the last, I mean, we only have 3 games left. So game 5, Joe Ryan, Spencer Strider. That is a 6-4 victory. We now have game 6 and game 7 here, where we are going to go Skubal, then Flaherty in these games. So let's go quick, get ourselves into... Yeah, quick manage. Sorry, word was not reaching my head. Okay, starting... Oh, whoops. Advanced day. Quick manage. That's why my brain was not working. Quick manage. All right. We will go Skubal, then Flaherty. And please, we can take on this team. So just taking a quick look on the left. Looks like the only addition they made was J.P. Crawford. An Austin Hayes who did get a World Series MVP. Okay, so they made a couple changes. Skubal versus Waldrop.
Ball 4, take your base.
As we are down 1-0 in the first. Not a great start for Skubal. Two men on for Kirilloff. That's bases loaded for Brent Rooker. 2-run double. Actually, that's an error. Sweet. Kerry Carpenter flies out. We have a 2-1 lead.
Ball 4, take your base. Out. 3.
Caught stealing. All right, bottom of the 5th. We are still up 2-1. Kirk gets a single. Walk.
Ball 4.
Man on first and second. Double for Kirilloff. He's coming in clutch right now. We don't have Riley Green, but Kirilloff is doing the job.
3. Take your base. Ball 4. He's safe.
And we get through that. Torres gets a single. Single for Kirk. We are going to go pitching change in the top of the 7th. Man, these bullpen arms are not necessarily the greatest. Holton
Now
gets through that. Okay.
Number 87, Tyler.
Man on first and second for Gleyber Torres, who grounds out. We'll stay with Holton for the next 2 lefties. And now Oh, he's not good against lefties anyways. Sweet. Okay. 4-1 lead. We will go pitching change. Devin Williams. Ozzie Albies. Single for Austin Hayes. Fielder's choice. And we are going to enter this game and watch Devin Williams hopefully win us this World Series without Riley Green. Okay, team select. Let's jump here and let's watch Devin Williams against Matt Olson in the top of the ninth of Game 6. Ball outside. This is a big deal because if we can get through this, honestly, we are at the edge. I don't know how much faith I have in the rest of this team to do this again. Swinging strike for Matt Olson. That is a 1-1 count. We're still up 4-1. Man on first. 1-1 count. Devin Williams versus Matt Olson.
That's just too much velocity. Hitter's got to look down in the zone.
That was a terrible pitch. 1-2 count. All right, come on. 1-2 count. Devin Williams versus Matt Olson. Throws the ball up high. That's a 88-mile-an-hour cutter. Is not fast enough. 2-2 count for Matt Olson. And that ball's in the dirt, leading to a full count. The top of the ninth, Game 6 for Devin Williams versus Matt Olson. Sean Murphy is on deck. Oh my God, I can't believe that fell in the strike zone. Devin Williams gets the save. The Detroit Tigers win the World Series in 2028 without Matt Olson. Or without Matt Olson, without Riley Green. The Detroit Tigers are your 2028 World Series champions. Despite the odds, they have done it.
This team game in and game out. They got to in their home ballpark. So many memories over this season, but in this game, this city is already going
just like
crazy.
that. See Spencer Torkelson right there celebrating. I'm curious who they're going to give the World Series MVP to. Just watching this Game 6, if Kirilloff gets it, that's hilarious to me. Devin Williams gets the 5th save of the playoffs. He blew the one, I think. No. Did he blow? Yeah. Did he blow one? No, that was Holton. Okay. That's a 4-1 victory. Who is your World Series MVP? Noah Campbell? He didn't even play. That's stupid. Dominic Bean, the Detroit Tigers postseason MVP. And we have done it. Winning a World Series in 2028. Now, let's also take a look at this roster, because this is where it becomes interesting in calling ourselves the challenge for how have we done compared to the 2014 Tigers. Just taking a look at our roster, we had our 2 MVPs in Riley Green and Brent Rooker. They had 2 MVPs with Miggy and Verlander. Gold Glovers, we had, I believe, 2 with Kirk winning 1, and I want to say Gary Carpenter getting a Gold Glove. So we also had 2 Gold Glove winners. Silver Sluggers, they had 6. Our goal was to get 4. We had 1 with Riley Green. We had 1 with Kirk. We had 1 with Luis Arias for 3. 4 for Gleyber Torres. And then I want to say Brent Rooker gets our 5th, so we have 5. So we are 1 short on them, but we have still met our goal. Cy Young Award winners, we had 2, which was our goal, with Skubal and Joe Ryan. Now, I think we still have potential to get more as time goes on. We had our Rookie of the Year, 2 of them actually, beating the Tigers with Jackson Jobe and with Jace Young. And we also had our batting title with Luis Arias, and our Hank Aaron Award winners, Brent Rooker and Riley Green. Now, that means that we technically have, and reliever of the year in Devin Williams. We have met our goal. We have accomplished our goal of building a full trophy case for the Detroit Tigers, also getting a division title and a World Series. Now, I am going to advance in the future down the road and look at the rest of this team. Often I do this in extendeds, but I think it's really important in this video to compare exactly with the 2014 Tigers to see if we can accomplish beating them in every category. Can we get a 2-time MVP? Can we get more than 2 Cy Youngs? Could we get up to 5 with the players that played on this team? And one of the reasons I bring that up is because I specifically brought up Mark Scott this season, Julio Sanchez this season, Francis Goodman this season, because, as well as Manuel Navarro too, and Max Clark, because the 2014 Tigers had Porcello play. Was he a big part of that? No. Was Robbie Ray a big part of that? No. Yet they were on the team, meaning that they played for that 2014 Tigers team, and Max Clark will count now for us. Manny Murillo will count for us. And importantly, Cy Young Award winning potential, Mark Scott will count for the future as a potential Cy Young winner. So we will advance, see how many more World Series this team can win, but can they get more trophies in the case than the 2014 Tigers did? That is our question as we move on to the future, post World Series championship in 2028 for the Detroit Tigers. The 2-time champion Detroit Tigers, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to accumulate and show as we move for the future all the awards. It'll be kind of like just a one big thing. I'm not going to show every single one of them, but I do just want to let you know that we are moving forward, just simulating all of it. Lost control, gave it to the computer to do it all, and the Tigers have won another World Series. They've already made a few trades to move some of the guys as they are capitalizing, and Jackson Jobe was the runner-up for the Cy Young, which is almost basically they've had 4 guys so far in top 3 in voting for Cy Youngs on that team. Now the question is, can they get them? Can they actually acquire those awards to get us to the 5 that the 2014 Tigers had? I don't know, but maybe. And as the career ends for Riley Green, that will do it for us, as I will stockpile and show you everything that we ended up getting over the next 14 seasons that I had to simulate in order to be able to see just how well that entire core ended up being. So the reason I'm showing Riley Green, there's still a few players left active who I don't necessarily think are going to do much. Jackson Jobe, Scott, Sanchez is still available, is still up. Max Clark is still around, but basically we are in a position where now I think nobody else should win awards. If they do, it'll be Scott, and he already has the awards that we were counting. I don't think he'll win another one though. And the reason I'm showing Riley Green is because in 2033, his first season leaving Detroit, he went and had a dominant season over here in Colorado with 209 hits, where he won the Triple Crown, meaning that both the 2014 and the 2028 Tigers had a 2-time MVP who won a Triple Crown. Like, I mean, it's perfect. It's exactly like perfect. And Silver Sluggers. This one, though, Riley Green did win a Gold Glove. So, I mean, you can compare. He didn't hit as many home runs. He didn't have as many hits. So did he have as good of a career as Miggy? No. And did he stay his whole time there? No. So historically, we're not going to call him as good as Miggy. But he technically had a career WAR of 72.5, which I believe is on par with what Miguel Cabrera had. But more, as Miguel Cabrera only had 67, and Riley Green ended with 72. So, you make the judgment call of who is the better all-time player. But let's tally our totals for our entire franchise and go through and show and compare this to the 2014 team.
Baby, every time you leave, I'm stuck. And my heart been built so long, I think I'm giving up. Yeah, I'm bleeding out, baby girl, I need your love. If you hate me, then tell me now, I can't sleep enough. If you hate me, then tell me, cause I can't be without you. If you love me, then kiss me, cause I can't be without you. I just wanna be around you. If you love me, tell me, baby, I would never doubt you. But I'm thinking I should get away. Fall in love when I see your face. If I'm really the one you hate, tell me why I can't be erased. Tell me why, let me know, make me sick. Every night going through all your shit. You know that it makes me sick.
Now, this is also simulated, and the majority of those players won those awards outside of Detroit. So that begs the question, what team was better? 2014 or 2028? I want to thank you so much for coming along, watching, and doing this kind of weird, strange, like not necessarily rebuild, but also kind of sim of a lot of these teams. By the way, I got fired, so I am on the Braves now because they were so bad for so many years. But it was a different video. Obviously, there's no extended in this one because we did this little extension here to show off this. And I just want to thank everybody for watching this. This should come out post 500 subscribers, so thank you all so much for coming along and subscribing. This has been a hell of a run. 2 weeks ago we had 40 subscribers and we had less than 1,000 views on the channel, and now we are over 25k and over 500 subscribers. This has been one hell of a ride for the last 2 weeks so far, so I thank you so much. We will have more coming soon. Maybe some different style videos as well, as I am looking to branch out and mix up, not just, you know, putting myself in the hole of MLB The Show rebuilds, because we got NCAA coming out soon. We have Out of the Park baseball as an opportunity in this game, and Madden and other sports games, as well as other types of videos. So thanks so much once again for watching, and adios.